Hey there, Internet friends. Trevor Starkey here with another episode of Wrestling Wednesday. Of course, running through the results of the Elimination Chamber this last weekend. As I predicted in last week's predictions episode, where they only had 4 matches listed at the time, they did add a couple tag matches. There was a pre-show tag match between the Balor Club, Gallows and Anderson, and the Miztourage. And then you had the tag titles put up for Sheamus and Cesaro versus the Titus Worldwide, Titus and Apollo Crews. So those new ones came in. I did throw out little kind of day of predictions on those, that Balor Club would win and that the Bar would win, and was correct in both those cases. So, woo! Pre-show match was fine. The Balor Club versus the Miztourage. I appreciate that they've kind of had a little bit of a feud between the Balor Club and the Miz and the Miztourage, a little bit kind of there, and we'd seen so much of Gallows and Anderson versus the Revival that this was a nice change of pace. I honestly didn't remember like the last time really I'd seen the Miztourage wrestling, so it was a nice little warm-up match that kind of got the crowd going. Then we kicked off the main show with the Women's Elimination Chamber. Pretty slow start a little bit with Bayley versus Sonya Deville. Then Mandy Rose came in, and so you had like the psychology of the two people of Absolution versus Bayley, and so that pretty much meant, oh yeah, okay, they're gonna bring in Sasha Banks to even things up at number 4. They did. And then Mandy Rose got eliminated. Then Mickie James got entered in. She had a nice little spot jumping off of one of the pods onto Sonya Deville, eliminated Sonya Deville. Bayley then went through and eliminated Mickie James before Alexa Bliss ever got in. So the whole like partnership between Alexa Bliss and Mickie James ended up being all for naught. And so then you had a nice little kind of sequence of Sasha and Bayley deciding not to fight and just wait for Alexa Bliss to get released. She gets released and then immediately like shuts the pod back in, so they're not going to get her. She escapes, climbs the chamber, and then you have like Bayley and Sasha in pursuit. A nice little like teasing the heel turn moment where Sasha like went to reach and grab Bayley's hand and then just like kicked her off the pod, taking her out for a little while. Ultimately, Alexa took out Bayley, and then she took out Sasha too, right? I think that was how things wound up there. So Alexa ends up the winner of the first ever Women's Elimination Chamber match. Had a great promo afterwards where it looked like she was gonna turn face, and tears and thanking the audience, before she, of course, swerved and said, you should be grateful because you'll never amount to anything. It was great promo, great heel work, and great match. Wonderful kind of little ring psychology again throughout, kind of evening the odds here and there and stuff. And it, apart from kind of not caring about Absolution, it kind of checked off a lot of the boxes it needed to check off. Then we went into the Raw Tag Team Championship match, and the Bar came out on top. Apollo Crews, they've still given him he's really good physically and really adept, and I love his standing moonsault and his athleticism. And so I wish they would give him a little bit more of a push. But then, as we saw on Monday, they jobbed them out in a 2 out of 3 falls match and just did that thing that they did the same thing with the Hardys in their 2 out of 3 falls match with Sheamus Cesaro, where they just kicked off the match with Sheamus giving a haluva kick, a brogue kick, that one. I always forget which ginger has which. So I was like, that's deja vu in that 2 out of 3 falls match. The Bar won at the pay-per-view, and as would be expected from a match that was announced the day of. But it was a fine match. Gave the tag champs something to do that night. As I imagine the original plan would have been Rollins and Jason Jordan continuing that feud or something. But, of course, Jason Jordan was injured. Then we had the match between Nia Jax and Asuka, and they made Nia Jax way more dominant than I thought they would for this. She ends up basically like beating the crap out of Asuka for most of the match, but Asuka kind of snuck away with a roll-up victory, roll-up pin, and then of course Nia threw Asuka through the barricade, whatever, over by the ring bell. So it was good. I'm kind of tired of Asuka's undefeated streak at this point, because it's just like it makes it so like, okay, well, I guess they're gonna just keep having her go, and it needs to end sometime, and it's just kind of leading to boring storyline ish. I think she needs to kind of get brought down a peg, or something. But we'll see where it goes. Then you had the Matt Hardy, Bray Wyatt feud, which was a kind of a nothing match. Matt Hardy ended up winning as predicted. So far, the only prediction I got wrong was the Nia Jax Asuka one, and I knew Asuka was going to win, but I predicted Nia anyway, and had come up with this, like, this would be a better way to book it into WrestleMania scenario. Then you had the Ronda Rousey segment, which was good. Rousey's still a little, like, fresh on the mic. At least she was wearing a jacket that was much more tailored to her this time, though. It was a nice segment, and as predicted, kind of set the plans in motion for why Triple H and Steph would be up against Ronda Rousey, and it would seem Kurt Angle at WrestleMania. Kind of planted all the seeds there, and then we saw a little bit more of that come Monday's show with the closing segment there, where Triple H belted Kurt Angle. So interested to see where that storyline goes. Interested mostly to see how much they do incorporate Ronda in there. I appreciated that she kind of came out there and was like, I'm not looking for any special treatment. I want to be here. I want to be treated just like everybody else. I want to earn my place here. And that was a good sentiment, because as we also kind of got from the Roman Reigns promo Monday night, like, I think people are kind of tired of Brock's lack of being around. So it'll be nice to have like a fewer part-timers around the ring there. And then lastly, we had the men's Elimination Chamber match, which started out as a triple threat, and then people got kind of entered. This was a really good match. Loved the opening bit with Miz trying to like form alliances with everybody, and then finally Balor and Rollins, forming the alliance with each other to go after the Miz for a while. Everybody had nice little spots. Braun Strowman was booked to be a beast, in defeating 5 other guys and only losing to Reigns, and that's my only issue with this match, really, is like you had him like taken out by everybody at one point. You had like a 4-person power slam taking Braun Strowman out. He got pinned, and like everybody dogpiled on him, as I predicted they would, but it didn't keep him down. He threw them all off. So he threw 4 people off of him, and then he took a few more finishers from people and still didn't go down. And so for the fact that he took all of that, and then all it took was like a couple spears from Roman Reigns to take him out, it just didn't play. Like, you have him be dominant, sure, but have like it be a group effort is required to eliminate Braun Strowman. Even if it had been like in the final 3 of like Reigns and Rollins just taking him out, time and time again, to get him down and wear him down to that point where they could pin him together and then face off, that I would have been fine with. But to have him take out every other person in the match and then Roman defeats him was just like, that's WWE machinations, and it's like it doesn't play with realism in that sense. So that was frustrating. But I appreciated the sentiment behind Roman's promo on Monday. Basically, like shitting on Lesnar for not being there. But because he is such the like made man in the company man, like it just doesn't. Like I would rather see anybody else out there making that, like telling that story. I would rather have seen Finn Balor out there saying like, yeah, Lesnar was supposed to be here tonight, but instead he was out palling around because he doesn't have the respect for this business, and like put those words into Balor's mouth, who has the fan support behind him and can be the champion of the fans instead of like the made man like Roman is. That's what I would rather see. Of course, they're not doing that. They're giving us the inevitable Lesnar versus Reigns, as we all predicted they would. So yeah, my really only issue is with that match was how dominant they set up Strowman to be through it, that it didn't make any sense when Roman single-handedly ends up kicking him down at the end. So those are my gripes, and what I liked about the Elimination Chamber match. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. As always, I've been your host, Trevor Starkey from TrevorTrove.com. You can follow me at SnarkyStarkey on Twitter. And until next time, from here at the Trove, treasure your friends.